I would say now for quite a few years, I consistently manifest and I'm able to, but I turned my whole life into an experiment for it. And I'm willing to go first and fall on my face and make the hard lesson.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Oh, Michelle, it's so great. I'm so grateful to have you here. It's just so wonderful.
I'm so excited to talk with you again. We always have great conversations.
Yeah, I was about to say great, and I'm like, I'm grateful. So I'm great, and you're great, and I'm grateful, and it's so wonderful. I love your energy. You know, you just have such a enthusiasm, a spark about you with the work you do, and just about you, period. And I really appreciate that about you. I really feel like people can feel some of that current through this interview too, and gain from that on top of what you teach and you share to help people really bring their true desires to life and into their lives, right? So I'm really grateful for that. Now, have you always been a master manifester and like no matter what's happening in the world, no matter what's happening in life, man, I command it's happening? Or what's your path been like with manifesting?
I love what you were bringing up about the energy because it's true. We were just saying we can get all this stuff and get it in our head, but until you get in the energy of people talking about it and you let them pour into you, which is something I do all the time, which is why events like what you're doing are so powerful. And I've really made a huge change in my life. I would say now for quite a few years, I consistently manifest and I'm able to, but I turned my whole life into an experiment for it. And I'm willing to go first and fall on my face and make the hard lessons and all of that, then turn around and share it with others. So I've always been empathic and I've always been intuitive. And I didn't learn till later in my life that I'm an energy healer and I am very in tune with energy. And that really helps in the manifesting, but it also can cause you, when you don't understand it yet, working in your life, to create a lot of what you don't want. So once I learned more and more, I used to see people would come in and out of it. Like, let's go to a manifesting circle. And then they go back into their toxic environments, habits, patterns, and then they go, why didn't it work? So I had to really learn it's a way of living and being, not just something you do.
Right. Yeah, totally. Totally. I mean, whenever I'm struggling with manifestations, because I've gone to my head to try to work it out from mental powers and stuff, which it's possible sometimes to do it that way, but try being consistent. You know, you'll wear yourself out every single time. I mean, takes tremendous willpower to manifest if you're just in your head all the time. Whereas, when you utilize the principles that you teach, that's why people say, "Oh, it's effortless," and everything, because you bring in that vibe into it. But you teach it in your own. Everybody has their own unique way of teaching it and sharing it. And it was a constant experimenter. Like that's how I look at myself, sort of with the healer crowd. Like, all right, I did all those experiments and how to get clients and everything, and how to do scanning and healing, and like, okay, I can share with that now. And so, how have you? I mean, did you just come up with this stuff on your own, like partly, or was a lot of it like stuff you learned and then you started experimenting with, or how did that work for you?
It's been a real mix. I have really experienced, and I know other people have too, that when you start hearing this, it's more like a knowing and a remembering. And then it starts coming to you when you're open to it. But you have to learn, like you're saying, to get your mind out of the way. Your mind is a tool, but too much we think we are our mind. So it started with spiritual awakening. I was young. Every area of my life was not working. I was in a very toxic marriage to a drug addict, and then had a child, and then needed to get out of that marriage. So it started with that because I kept thinking there's got to be more to this. How did I end up like this? And I was raised more in that world perspective that things just happen to you and then you have to deal with them and bad things happen. And I didn't think that was true. So I was willing to say, I created this. And at the same time, I was aware of energy. And so I started having people and resources come into my life to teach me about this. We are energetic beings in energetic exchange at all times with everyone and everything in the universe. And then I started living my life and I started seeing manifestations. My life has changed dramatically at different times when I've really been unhappy and I've really gotten into it and worked with it. And now, for the past number of years, I all the time am manifesting the life I want. Because the other thing you bring up is you can't come in and out of it. So our mind wants to say, wait, it's not working. What did I do wrong? And I have learned now to say, what is trying to happen here? And when something shows up that's what you don't want, it's feedback and you got to stay in it and
Mhm.
keep working with it. And the mental powers can really take you off track.
Right. I know for myself, if I'm not manifesting something or something like the opposite, or like I tell people get into business, for example, in the to being a healer or coach or whatever, and they're like, I'm gonna go get it done, I'm gonna do it, or I'm gonna start trying at least, or whatever, and I'm not getting any clients, or or whatever, or I'm gonna go bigger, and then they go smaller, right? Like everything starts flattening out. Then what for me, what I would suggest to everybody and to myself is like, okay, then it's always like look inside. What is inside of you that's creating that reflection on the outside? That's how I look at it. How do you go about navigating like when things show up like that? We're waking up and everything, and like that as we're waking up, we're like, oh my God, I'm in a nightmare though. Like in the world, like some of the nightmares that are going on, like people are more awake, but people are more contracted in some ways and more expanded in maybe other ways. So it's a real mix that we're dealing with. So how do you deal with like, wow, I individually manifested, or we collectively manifested? How do you start unpacking that? How do you start to shift it? How do you go about it?
That is a lot. It is because we are a collective. So when things in the world aren't working in the world the way I want them, I still believe now I can create a life I love. And then
Mm,
you're almost like, oh my gosh, my life is so great, but a lot of people in the world are hurting. And that can be a hard one too. So then I have to realize, like, even if, we just came out of an election and I was like, no matter who wins and no matter the result, the collective has created this, and whatever energies are moving, now we're working with those energies. So I'm not going to make up any stories. Just like I started my business in a recession 17 years ago, and I learned then you don't make stories up about it's a recession, it's a bad time. So I'm aware of what's going on in the world, but I don't buy into it. And so when you're saying you wake up and you're like, the world's on fire, there's an election, I don't like the results, or everything's going to go bad from this, any of that, and even just seeing all the suffering, and then your life starts getting better and better. All I can do, I learned early on, this was from Abraham teachings, me being more broke will not make anybody else rich. Me being sicker won't make anyone else better. I can provide more when I'm stable. But we're healers, and so in the beginning it was like, oh, that whole broke and suffering noble healer, and I had to realize that was not created by spirit and live differently. So I'm always navigating the world, and at the same time, whatever I'm noticing about the world is in me, because I also use as one of my clearing methods Ho'oponopono, which is very much like what you just said. What inside of me is needing all of you to show up like this, and I can only change it in me. And then we're all
mhm.
having different experiences. So it is a much bigger thing. I would say one key in all of it, I've had to learn across the board. You have to learn about the energy of your stories, your negative triggering stories and your positive stories, and whichever is more energy wins. And you can't start telling those stories. See, I tried it and it didn't work because nothing ever works for me. And then the universe says, whatever you say is.
Mhm.
So it's
Right.
really that constantly engaging. And when things show up that I don't want, I created them in some way. But here's my mantra: that I live by now 100%. Spirit is always working in my favor. So
Mhm.
sometimes I get things that are not what I want because it's the only way to move me to what I want. So I'm not going to say it's not working. I'm messed up. It only works for other people. I'm saying, what is trying to happen here?
Right. And we might all be getting different messages when we see the fires going up in Los Angeles to for a large degree, perhaps, or even, there may be some collective themes, right, that kind of apply to a lot of people, but there's different messages we're getting. Listen, there's a fire in your kitchen. Now what the hell are you gonna do? Like, like that kind of thing. Like there's something. Okay, cancel. By the way, everything's cool in the kitchen. Okay, all right. See that's how much I'm watching it. So I do believe in that because, especially because I do channeled prayer and all this stuff. Like all of a sudden, if I stay something in a commanding energy, the family always gets scared. Like, Dad, take it back if it was something that wasn't positive. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Let
It's
me.
very true. And
Yeah.
so you could be watching the fires and not have any connection to them, like the fires in LA. But
Mhm.
if your own fears about stuff starts and they get very activated and triggered, you can start creating, like you said, other metaphors or other situations of something on fire, or even like the fear of suddenly, what if I lost everything? And then all of a sudden you have a financial issue that shows up, you have to go, wait, I'm creating that in some way with my fears, my thoughts, because it's a fine line for me to have total compassion and feel for those people, but not get into my own fear or not feel guilty that I have so much and now they have nothing. That'll
Right,
just come on you.
right, right. I always feel like the more we can raise up and be an example that we're people want to attack the example sometimes. I get that when people are hurting, oh, you gotta give it to me. You should, but come join me down here, right? But that's just that sense of separation that people feel. But some people will, go the other way. They'll be like, let's learn from Michelle. Let's learn from whoever, one of the other speakers here or something. Let's learn. I want to raise up. I want to be some version like them, my own, whatever. Some take in some of their energy, their wisdom, come closer to them. Whereas other people be like, no, I'm going deeper in my own pain and my stuff and join me, please. Like literally, like people don't even know they're doing it sometimes. But like that's what happens. And so, we can only, yeah, we've got to put on the oxygen mask first. All those metaphors, come to play here. And as we do that, then we can thrive. But yeah, there's a big one for me too. And it continues there is some stuff there still for me. When I think about become uber wealthy or something, I'm like, yeah, but then I'm one of those evil wealthy people and stuff. So I'm still working on that one a bit, just keep clearing out those ideas. It's like, yeah, you could be uber like generous and give to whoever you want, and be a better contribution to people. So there's so many
I'll give
different
you
stories. Yeah.
I'll give you a good example because people can always say, oh, yeah, but you're sitting there in Texas or you're sitting there in your home. And it's easy to tell other people this manifesting stuff because it's
Mhm.
not for the faint of heart. It is work and it's inner work. So I will tell you, my daughter is in the fires in Santa Monica. And a few nights ago, we had to evacuate her in the night and find her a hotel and get her out of there. So at once I'm ministering to her and taking care of her in the immediate, but my mind is already saying something in her life is trying to happen here. And I can already see those connections. And yet it's hard to tell people something good's going to come out of this. And
Right.
they think, well, you're not living through it. But I'm watching it with my daughter, and I know that part of it, of her being there in it, is something is happening in her life, and this is part of it.
Yeah, well, lots of compassion to the situation, and I agree. I totally agree with you. I mean, yeah, we all those people there. It seems like, and then there was somebody on a call I was just on that was in that area and talking about. We all are impacted eventually because we're so connected now, right, through the internet and
Yeah.
everything, and so we're all connected to it. And I think it's a huge opportunity for us to be like, wow, what is in this for me? Like there's a meaning for me. I'm like, yeah, it's a fire energy for me this year. Yeah, let's disintegrate what no longer works. I mean, but I don't make light of the fact that there's a lot of people suffering, right? Of course, all the prayers, all the compassion, all the whatever, I can feel the heartbreak, right? What can you do? You can pray, you can do what you can, but you don't have to go burn your old house down. I mean, that's ridiculous.
No, and you really want to keep
Right.
your energy up. Two of the scales I use are Abraham's energy scales of when you're downward spiral or an upward spiral based on your emotions, and also power versus force has
Yeah.
a similar scale. And so you don't want to get pulled down and start spiraling. The best thing everybody could do is learn how to manage your energy and master your emotions, because that would affect the more people that can stay in that higher vibration. And when stuff's going on in your own life, it can clear so much better and more blessings when you can get in that place. But the majority of people on our planet operate normally at that very low vibration if you look at those scales. So that's
Yes.
been instrumental to me. I was a therapist for years, and
Mhm.
I also worked in a lot of generational trauma and dysfunction and addiction. And people are trained into those levels of energy. And one of the things I had to do was learn a new way of being in my energy, in my body, that changed everything. And you just can't manifest without that. For instance, I believe on those scales, the highest emotion to manifest from is joy. So I've learned when I can get myself into joy first, I manifest so much quicker and easier.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Yes. Yes. That's why I always say I manifest food maybe the easiest because free meals and whatever, all kinds of things at restaurants because I'm in a higher vibration and because I'm having fun. I'm like, oh, I like one of these and one of those and one of these. They're like, okay, here it is. Kind of like that, and it's a lot of fun. I'm like a childlike fun, even sort of like, wow,
Yes.
I get all that. Wow, and so I mean that's the thing is bring it into that vibration, how you can be lighter, like if it's money or anything else, right? Isn't that part of it? Like, how do we go about doing that so that, how could I do that? Like, if you were to talk to me, like, how can I do that increasingly with other things that feel heavier for me, and have it be as light as manifest in an extra steak or something or whatever it might be.
Yes, one of the things I learned early on was a technique in energy healing where they'd have you experiencing something or think or feel about something going on right now, and then they'd say, or something you want to create. Does that feel heavy or light? So I had to actually learn, not my mind saying, is it good, bad, right, wrong, but feeling with my body. So even if you don't want to be an energy healer, I think a lot of people can benefit for manifesting from doing some kind of energy workshop or learning about it, because then I learned to feel heavy or light. And then how do I keep myself light more? How do I keep myself in joy? And it doesn't mean suppressing emotions, it means letting them move through my body and out. It's different for different people. Music, movement, journaling, meditation, energy healing, all of those things, you've got to do those before you're in crisis. People used to come to me. My business started as a hands-on healing on a table in an office, and people would come to me once they were in crisis or trauma in a healing need. And I realized why I expanded my business. I wanted to teach them what to do once they got off the table before they ended up back on the table. And I saw there was so much. And of course, I had to do it first. So I use healers, spiritual advisors, intuitive. I use all of that along with conscious dance and movement, meditation, yoga. But I do those things in my life before I get into crisis, and it keeps me out of crisis. So I think learning your own emotional state, it was Tony Robbins, it stuck with me, who first said, your state of being above everything else. And I had to think about it when I was first into manifesting, because I was still all about, but what are all the things I need to do? How many times do I need to say this and write this? And he said, your state of being. And when I fully understood that and applied it, it makes everything else so much easier. I used to get mad. You mentioned it a minute ago, and especially in business. And my coaches would say, it's as easy to create $100,000 as 1,000. And I'd be, I don't even know how to make a $10,000 month. You know, the 10K
Right.
month is such one of those milestones. And then when I finally figured it out, it really is, because they kept saying it becomes 99% energy. And then from 100,000 to 1,000,000, it becomes 99% energy. And my mind didn't like it because I'm coachable, I'm trainable, tell me how many emails to send, show me what to do, and I'll do it. And it was energy. And when my energy is aligned, my stuff sells out with the right people,
Yeah.
and it's easy.
Yes, 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 exactly. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, with the right energy, that's the magic. I mean, I've done it both ways. I always use tennis as my example. I've efforted my way to I'm gonna win no matter what, and done it, and then like my body's a wreck, right? And then I like to. That's one of the reasons why I like to use it, because there's a physical effect right away. And then I've played amazing tennis, being as light and joyful as possible, and I was even way more. I mean, easily you win, and then easily like you enjoy it, easily. Like winning's a side effect. I mean, really. I mean, it's just like, yeah, I
And
won
then
again.
you
All right.
win. You win because you're so aligned. Yeah, I
Right.
love that example, because a mantra I use all the time now. I've had enough tough lessons. So now I say, I learn my lessons with ease and grace, or bring me the money with ease and grace. Bring me the clients with ease and grace. What's the quickest and easiest way? And that's different than what you're saying. I've got to have this. I've
Right.
got to pay my bills. I'll do anything to get it. And then you're depleted.
Yeah, I mean, even if you hit it, which is possible for sure, but you're on empty and you're crashing, basically.
And that's where I got the crashes. I could get the highs, but then I would crash. So what my money and my business looked like, and my life, feast and famine, because I could get all the energy to get here and get the result, but now my tank is empty. Now I crash. Now I got to crawl out of the same hole again. And I call it, I really believe in creating in the field, the quantum field. And the way I tell people is, I feel when I'm riding a wave like a surfer, and I'll say, I'm riding the wave in the field, and I've learned how long can I keep my energy so that I ride the wave and everything's just coming, and I want less crashing and more being able to steadily ride the wave, and it works great.
Yeah, no, it does. You're right. And that's fantastic. So I know you have a free gift for everybody too today. So you want to share about that?
I do. I did a master class. I have a book that came out last year in October, Loving What's Next. What you want can be yours now. And it's the process that I take my clients through in the work I've been doing with them for the past decade and years. And so I created this master class, and now it's available. So you can go to Get What You Want master class, and you get immediate access to it. And I tell people, go through the master class, take the nuggets that are in that, and start applying this. Because the other thing I've learned that you have too is, I want to know all of it. But if I get one nugget from one person and I apply it, my life changes and I get results, then my brain believes it's possible and the energy rises, and then more. So instead of waiting till you have it all figured out, do the master class, get the nugget, and apply it for 30 days and watch what happens.
Absolutely. I mean, I just was hearing that message again, and my first business mentor, I was listening to her. She was had been not doing other things for a while, and she's back in the world. I'm like, cool. I was listening to what I heard her deals, and so I was listening to her. She was talking about, which I've heard from many people, but hearing from her, special. I just heard her say, like, listen, you need to focus on one thing and move that forward in your business. Quit trying to grow all these different things. Focus on the one thing, is her philosophy to grow a business. And she said, big businesses. So she says, do that. And then then sometimes you can grow multiple things at a time eventually, but you have to really be mindful of growing one thing at a time. And I've heard that from many 7-figure plus businesses too. And I
Yeah.
think it's true in not just in business, but in life. Sometimes we just have to be more hyper focused on one thing, but especially in business, hyper focused on one thing, really get that on board, and then we can take the next steps from there. I mean, is that what you've seen too, or?
Yeah, because it's mastery of energy. And so at first, I talk about that a lot. You've got to really learn to focus. I was originally trained, if you've ever tried to do this, light a candle and you sit and you stare at the candle flame. And every time your eye comes off the flame, you recognize it and you put it back because you've got to train that focus. Once you are better at manifesting and mastering it, I can juggle a few things at a time. But in the beginning, it's that focus because you don't know how to hold the energy here and come over here. And I believe for 30 days, you set an intention and you work on one thing and you get your feedback on that one thing and you stay focused on it. I've had business coaches tell me you can't chase two bunnies, don't chase two bunnies, and also you can't ride two horses with one butt. So I've always, it's true.
Yeah, yeah,
You
and
lose all of it then your energy, it's just like your energy starts going out as just sparks everywhere, and you've got to learn to get that target until you get better at it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's what I always share with people too. With businesses, usually they want to do 10 ideas at once. I'm like, no, no, no. Let's focus
Yeah.
here first, And for me, it's like energy scanning. Do energy scans, get clients, grow from. That's how I grew. So like, I teach people
Yes.
that, and people that take that on, that resonate with that, then they do well. So, Michelle, what are some of the most I'm just curious. This is something just to inspire people. What are one or two of your bigger manifestations or ones that you appreciate the most that you like to share with people, that you're most proud of? I'm just really curious.
I have one I just did that is such a great example of how fast and easy things can come now. So, in my book and in my teachings, I always say you've got to learn to trust your desires and you've got to go back to your desires. I now trust your desires 100%, even if you think, how could that ever happen? So last spring in April, I started being aware. We'd just be driving down the street, and my husband noticed all of a sudden I'd be like, look at that big house. Look at that big house. And I became aware of the desire. And I was writing this book at the time. So I was really in my process. I was aware of a desire that I wanted a bigger house. I've had 3 grandbabies in 4 years, and I live where my children with the grandchildren live. And we had moved when COVID had first started into a little lock and leave. And I started being aware of it. And I told my husband, and his brain said, I hate moving. I don't want to move. That's hard. And how would we get a big house? And again, if you follow the markets, at least in Texas, it's not the best time. It's not a seller's market and all this. And I just said, I'm aware of it. So I'm telling you, this is going to happen. Then I opened to all the opportunities and possibilities. So instead of trying to figure it out in my head, I just started watching and seeing, and a series of opportunities came. So that was April. By October, we had bought a house twice the size of our house. And this is how I love spirit, because I stuck with the essence of what I wanted. So, one, it's only 5 miles from my new grandbaby, so I can help my daughter with her first baby. But once I got here, I found out it was only 3 miles from a spiritual community and church that I used to love that was too far away, and 3 miles from my old dance studio, so I could go back and start doing my conscious dance again. So, see, spirit will set it all up like that. It was seamless. We sold our house, we got into this house, we got a good price for it. The money showed up and everything worked out because I've learned I didn't have one objection where other people would be like, what are you even thinking? And
Yeah.
then once the day my husband got on board, it started going faster, because one day he finally said, It was when my daughter said that would be my dream. So then that swayed him, that if we moved close to her, and you saw him shift, then he just packed up our whole house and put it all in storage, and then it was on. So that's one. And I've done a few of those where I'm big on manifesting to change my quality of life all the time. I use it in my business. Another one I love, because this is a real single focus. I was having trouble, even like, I need $1,000 to pay some extra bills. And I was still like, I don't know how to make a 10K month in my business or pay my bills. But we got an opportunity to go on a cruise and to take our adult children, and we were going with people we love. And my husband said, we can't do that. And I said, well, just tell me how much it'll cost. And he said, we looked and we sat down, $10,000. I manifested that in a very short time when I couldn't manifest for other things, because all I felt was the joy. I saw myself on that ship with my children, with our friends, and I manifested it so easily by focusing on it. And then I've learned, if you tell the universe you're going to create new money for something, when the money comes, I use it for what I agreed with the universe I wanted. So I didn't say, oh, well, now I need to take that money to pay my bills. And we went on that cruise.
Right,
So
exactly.
those are two examples.
Once you commit, don't come back out, right? You said you wanted this, it's all there for you. Then if you distrust it, right? Like, we better pack it away. There might be a disaster later or something.
Right. And I have learned, you do not break your agreement with the universe, or next time you're going to see something different. And
Right.
it's worked every time. So when I call it new money, I never say I can't afford it. I say I am creating new money for this, because all the money I have is earmarked for other things. But when that new money comes in, it only goes to that thing immediately. And now I've created tens of thousands of dollars for things that I want and need.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love that. I love having, those specific things that you want, and like, that's okay. This is for this is for that. That's a really powerful, cool way to do it. So, all right, Michelle, well, thank you for sharing. I think people can learn a lot from what you shared. I think the big thing, guys, is just start applying. What Michelle's got to offer you. From this. Get the masterclass, get maybe another quick nugget, right? Like, just start practicing the things that you know to do. But the other aspect is to raise your energy by listening to someone like Michelle, right? It's like you used to listen to Abraham and all that, you probably still do sometimes.
I
But
do.
like, you keep listening to this stuff because it just gets deeper in your consciousness. But with your practices, start practicing more. That's what I've going in this year. I'm like, okay, there's more tools that I can be practicing, and let's add those ones in this year, right? So you got to get into practice. It doesn't have to be hard work. Do the ones that delight you, and keep at it. So anyway, Michelle, I'd love to keep talking forever with you, but we're going to need to wrap it up. But thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much. It was great to talk with you. We can talk about this stuff forever.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.